Hi, everybody. This is KIRSTIN Norris Gartner. I am the Patron Services Manager at the Pensacola Opera.
And my name is Luis Orozco, and I was there with Pensacola Opera for their production of Florencia and Amazonas, and I will be joining Pensacola Opera again for next season in their production of Carmen, playing Escamillo.
Great. And since it's Friday afternoon, we are going to teach you guys how to make some cocktails that we have created that are themed around our upcoming season. We've got a Carmen cocktail that Luis is going to do and a Pinafore cocktail that I'm going to do for you. So I'm going to pass it over to Luis. He's going to walk you through it.
Awesome. So I was trying to think of what to make for a Carmen-themed cocktail, and I've been really into mezcals recently. I recently got married, and my wife and I went to Mexico. I'm originally from Mexico, but I didn't know a lot. I knew I liked drinking mezcal, but I didn't know a lot about mezcal itself. And it's a very intricate cooking, fermentation, and distilling process that really kind of tied things together for me as far as taste goes. It's a very complex and rich taste. A lot of people don't like mezcal because it's a bit too smoky for them. But the reason it's smoky is because it's cooked for anywhere from 24 hours to 3 days over these stone pits. Then that plant, the agave, is crushed, and then it's fermented, and then it's distilled. So it retains a lot of that smoke, which I personally love, but that's the complaint with a lot of people. There are some mezcals that are a little bit less smoky, but the one we're going to use today is pretty smoky. This is a very affordable mezcal that you can find just virtually anywhere. The makers are the Agave, and it's an espadín mezcal, which is typically will run you about $35. So it's very affordable, but the bottles can go anywhere from $35 to $100, $200. So we're calling this the Carmen cocktail. We're calling it the Black Widow, and it's a very rich cocktail. While at the same time, it has a lot of fruit notes. So it's a very complex and rich cocktail. So I figured that would be a perfect thing to choose.
And isn't Carmen set in a cigarette factory as well? Sort of a smoke atmosphere?
It is very much. And Carmen is always a beautiful opera singer, but I imagine if this was a staged play, you would cast somebody in Carmen that had a very smoky voice.
Yeah.
Speaking sound. But we're gonna get started here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Usually about 8 raspberries. You want to put those in any kind of mixing glass or anything where you can muddle. So get 8 blackberries. We're going to do 1 sprig of rosemary, like a pretty generous sprig. Boom. Okay, then if you have one of these guys, it doesn't have to be agave syrup. I use agave syrup anytime I'm doing a tequila cocktail or a mezcal cocktail. It can be simple syrup. It can even be honey if you don't have a simple syrup. But simple syrup is really easy to make at home. Do about half an ounce. And then take about a half lemon. If you think that the lemon isn't very juicy, you can do a full lemon. I think these are pretty good, so it should be fine with half. So there we have blackberries, we have the rosemary, the agave juice, and the agave syrup, and lemon juice. You want to muddle that. And just as long as it doesn't have to be like intensely muddled, but you do want at least the raspberries to kind of be a little bit mushy.
Yeah. And while you're muddling, do you want to
Mm-hmm.
tell viewers a little bit about your role in Carmen? Have you sung this role before? Are you excited about it? Is this a new experience for you?
Yeah, I have sung this role before. It's actually one that I've done quite a bit now. The role of Escamillo is a bullfighter, which is kind of a lost profession nowadays, for good reason. It's a pretty typical animal cruelty.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think you can still go to bullfights and
You can, yeah.
I think. But they used to be more popular around the world, and they no longer are. But I think the reason why it's very pertinent that it's important that he is a bullfighter, and that you know a little bit about bullfighting is because of the profession and what those guys did for a living. There was kind of a notion that these guys were fearless, you know, and when you see, they're kind of like ballet dancers next to a live bull. They're very graceful, and the reason why they do that is because they can't have sudden movements. They can't have, you know, you don't want to do anything to rattle a live bull. But that kind of translates into the confidence that this guy walks around with and who he is as a person. His profession informs everything he does in life. So the reason why that's important is because that's the reason why Carmen falls in love with Escamillo, is because they both tick at a very high level when it comes to danger, when it comes to just everything they do. The bar is always raised, which I think it's where that attraction level comes from with them, which is not always there with her and Don Jose, which then creates all the problems in the plot. But yeah, I think he's a very interesting character. Vocally, it's a very challenging role because I think it's written for both voice types, for a bass baritone and for a baritone. I happen to be somewhere in the middle of that, so it kind of lands perfectly. So I've done it. This will be my 7th time doing it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited. And it's one of those roles that every time you do it, it teaches you something completely new.
Yeah, it is a really, really good, thorough character study too. That is very interesting.
Yeah, he's an interesting character that can be often portrayed as a very stereotype Gaston kind of character. You know, and there's a lot more to who he is and why he does the things that he does. So as you can see, that's pretty muddled. Since I don't have a mesh strainer, and I don't want all of that in my cocktail, I'm just gonna flip this thing.
Smart.
I'm gonna try to run it through that.
And so I know that when you were here with us for Florencia, that you guys were super busy, but you did mention that you got to go out a little bit while you were here. So since we're making cocktails, talk to me about one of your favorite spots in Pensacola.
Yeah, we actually, as far as cocktails go, we didn't go to a lot of cocktail bars. We did go, Corey Kreider and I actually went for the first time. We found it on Yelp, and it was a Perfect Plain, and we were looking for a brewery. And it was fantastic. The atmosphere was great. They have food trucks, and it's just the whole setup of the place is great. Which you had mentioned that they just built a cocktail joint.
They did.
Which wasn't there when I was there. So I'm excited to go back and check it out. How are the cocktails?
They're so good. They're so good. And they're actually kind of a partner with us. They let us host our Pours and Encores event and have donated $1 of their beer sales to our education fund. And they're big supporters of the arts in Pensacola. They host us. They host the children's chorus. They did a beer choir recently. So they're big supporters.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right. So the process after this is pretty simple. You start adding your booze. We're gonna do which a lot of people do in bars, and anytime you go get a mezcal cocktail, they'll mix tequila and mezcal. It cuts a little bit of the smoke out. It will make it a little bit boozier. This cocktail can be done with 1.5 ounces of tequila, 1.5 ounces of mezcal, or if you want to combine the two, you can do 1.5 ounces of tequila, 1/2 ounce of mezcal, or the other way, 1.5 ounces of mezcal and 1/2 ounce of tequila, depending on which one you like more. I'm gonna do 1.5 ounces of mezcal because I just enjoy mezcal more than I like tequila.
Yeah.
But it will cut a little bit of smoke if I add that 1/2 ounce of tequila. Just bottle out of the way. There we go. All right, then you just add ice. You're getting the magic of New York kitchens here, and the New York kitchens.
How is New York right now? How's it been being in your apartment?
Strange, it's New Yorkers are always out because we live in such small spaces, and especially in this time of year, I feel like the weather has been pretty. So usually people would be out. People would be going to parks, going on runs. Right now, it's depending on where you go. Midtown, downtown, Central Park. It's kind of a ghost town. So it's strange sometimes to see New York City like that. But we've been great. We've kind of developed. We've gone on over a month in quarantine.
Wow.
I think this is like a month and 3 days now. Which we didn't expect to do that long, when this whole thing started.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're starting to develop a good rhythm on how to, how to get out and do things just to get sun a little bit, go on walks and things like that. But yeah, so we have all the things in our shaker. Mm-hmm. Do your solid 20 seconds. Cool. So we are gonna just strain this into our glass. I'm gonna lift it up since my camera is a little bit. I don't know if you can see. You will get some particles of raspberry in there.
Pretty color though.
Pretty color, and it just looks like a Carmen cocktail.
It does. It really does.
And something fun that you can do for garnish, take a rosemary sprig.
Oh my gosh, Luis, you're so fancy.
And you just toss that guy in your drink.
That is so fancy. Oh man.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is the Black Widow.
Awesome.
Yeah, what about you? What are you making for us?
All right, so I am making a Pinafore themed cocktail that I've decided to call the Queen's Navee. And I've got some Earl Grey tea that I brewed right here. This is cold Earl Grey. I've got a simple syrup, and I like to make my own. It's just equal parts sugar and water on the stove until it boils, and keep in your fridge. And then I also have rosemary and blackberries and lemon. Nice. And then I've got a bourbon. And this is, you can do a couple different things here. I'm gonna use a ginger liqueur, like a spiced ginger liqueur. You can also use like a spiced pear, or really just any kind of spiced liqueur. You don't want to go super spicy like a spiced rum.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like a nice subtle spiced pear or spiced ginger. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start out by muddling a couple of blackberries And I feel like my husband would probably be angry if I only made one, so I'm going to double my recipe. So you want to use a usually about a ½ ounce of simple syrup, but I'm going to go ahead and do a full ounce since I am doubling. And I am going to muddle that all together, and again get the blueberry, the blackberry nice and muddled so that I don't get a bunch of stuff in my drink. I'm going to add in my Earl Grey, and again I'm doubling, so I'm going to do, it should be about 1.5 ounces of Earl Grey, but I'm going to go ahead and do 3 ounces, and this is unsweetened too. I know we're in the South, but this is unsweetened tea. And of course, I chose Earl Grey.
You're not originally from the South, are you?
I'm sorry?
You're not originally from the South, are you?
I am actually. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. And my whole family is from South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee. I don't know where my accent went. It disappeared. But my husband is from Ohio, and you know that because you guys went to college together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I lost it when we started dating.
Yeah, I hear no trace of it.
I know. That is so funny though. When you came for Florencia, we, my husband Alex got so excited. He was like, "Oh my gosh, my friend Luis is coming," and we realized that there was this whole network of people who were CCM grads who have come through Pensacola Opera, and it was hilarious. The entire season, it was CCM grad after CCM grad. Alex was like, "Yep, I remember them. I remember them."
Well,
but
even
he was so excited.
Kreider, who was there with us for Florencia, he was there before us, but he's also a CCM grad.
Yeah, I know. It's wild. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my bourbon. And I'm going to do 3 ounces, but if you were just doing a single cocktail, you would do 1.5 ounces. And I might go just a little heavy. There we go. Yeah, that's good. We've been in quarantine almost a month too. We need a heavier pour. Okay, and then with your liqueur, I eyeball it because this is a really strong flavor. So I'm just gonna eyeball this. It should be about 1/2 ounce, and I'm not gonna double it because, like I said, this is a really strong flavor. So I'm just gonna give it about a 2 count.
Yeah.
And leave that in there. Now I'm not gonna shake this. Instead, what I'm gonna do is add in my ice straight into the shaker, and then I'm just gonna stir it until it gets super cold. If you could tell me a little bit more about what you are excited about on your triumphant return to Pensacola, and kind of what you're up to besides joining us for Carmen, what you've got on deck for this upcoming year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I actually I was in Milwaukee doing Carmen with them. So we got canceled right before opening. We actually got to open, but we opened to an empty theater. They had a couple of donors, and they streamed it for anybody who bought tickets. So I'm excited to just. Carmen is just one of those pieces that I've never gotten tired of doing, and I don't foresee myself getting tired of the piece. I think there's a reason why it gets done so much. You know, it's a perfect opera. So yeah, I'm really excited just to actually get back to the show and to get to do the role. But another thing that I'm excited that I got going on is I'm doing my European debut in St. Gallen in Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
Doing Florencia, actually. I'm gonna go out there and do Florencia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Will you be doing Rio Lobo, or are you in a different role?
Yeah, I'm doing Rio Lobo as well.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm ready to stir. So basically what I'm doing, I've added a lot of ice in here, and I am just going to stir this pretty quickly. Hopefully not spill it everywhere until it gets nice and cold. All right, so I'm going to take my strainer, and I'm just going to pour it right there into my martini glass.
Beautiful.
And I'm gonna garnish it. I've got my lemon right here. I'm just gonna give that a little twist and get some of that lemon zest right in there. And I'm gonna take some rosemary. I'm not gonna burn mine, but I'm gonna do that later. And a blackberry. And there we go.
There we go.
Yes. So,
Cheers, our
very
friend.
pretty. Yeah, cheers. All right. Well, Louise, thank you so much for being with us. Really looking forward to having you in January. It's going to be a great performance. And I hope you guys stay safe and stay sane. And
likewise. Everybody will just be excited to get back on stage. So I'm extremely excited to be back in Pensacola with the whole team. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we're excited about it too.
Yeah.
Well, stay well, and we will talk soon.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
Cheers.